I mean, we've had a couple 90-degree weeks, so it's a little on the hot side.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. That's true. That is the one downfall of Florida in the summer. It gets ridiculously hot. So I'm just going to jump right in so I don't take up too much of your time, but there's a lot of things going on right now in the world. Specifically this week, what's really captured my attention is Hollywood dropping people from their shows because of racist tweets, and HBO Max decided to remove Gone with the Wind from their streaming service. What do you think about all this? Do you think that people are doing the right thing? Do you think it's about time?
I think, I don't understand how we survived as long as we have in a climate and in an environment where hate has been so systemic throughout our entire society. How have we survived this way to date? And why do we question now when it's time to do the right thing? Yeah. I mean, I think we should have done some of these things years ago. And now people are feeling guilted into doing things that they knew they should have done years ago.
Right. That's very interesting. And with everything that's happening, how do you think that the media is handling this? How do you think the politicians are handling this? It's a lot. I know you can go, case by case, but yeah, it's a lot.
I mean, I think, the media is trying its best to do what we always do. And that is, even in a time of crisis, they go for ratings. We're trying to pay the bills. People want to get income coming in, money coming in. Mm-hmm. And so we have been a society that always seems to pander to our lowest salacious common denominator. And I think it's time that we reevaluate every aspect of American society, or there will not be an American society left. I mean, I think you say from Hollywood to the politicians to media, I think we're all to blame for where we are. Mm-hmm. Those who have been silent for way too long and have just wanted to get along with the status quo, which has been hate right below the surface of the boil, are now realizing that the chickens are coming home to roost. And we're not going to get any further if we don't address these issues, period. I mean, it's been time. It's been a long time. It's been hundreds of years coming. And if you look at the last 150 years, when we fought the Civil War and one half lost, there's no other country on the planet where the country allows monuments to the losers of civil rebellion.
You're so
we're the only country that's allowed that and claim that, well, we want to be proud of our heritage. Ask a Russian if they're proud of Stalin.
Yeah, right.
Ask a German if they're proud of Hitler.
Yeah.
Why are we proud of those who raped, murdered, stole, and did everything they could to hit the lowest common denominator of man? Why are we now acting like that's a proud memory in our heritage?
It's almost surreal, I guess, that we're even still having this discussion, I guess. I don't know how else to put it, where it's like you said, it's surreal, and it's almost like, why is this a discussion? Why is equality even a discussion right now?
It's going to be negative Nelly anyway. You could put up a hashtag right now saying hashtag flowers behind my left shoulder. Somebody's going to say, damn it, why did you have flowers? You should have fruit. You should have, hey, crazy, you're ignorant.
Those flowers are disgusting. Yeah.
Just because they want to have something to say that isn't really of any value whatsoever, but the fact that they read their own words, they think they're now valuable.
Thank you for saying that. That really does mean a lot, because a lot of people mean well. They don't mean to spark any sort of controversy. They just want to support. And that goes back to people saying, you know what, if you support cops, unfollow me. If you do this, unfollow me. And it's like, let's just all support the community that needs to be supported right now. Let's take away all the negativity. I wish that was the case, but you know what?
That's not the nature. That's not the nature of the beast. And the beast is mankind. It's a species on the planet that lives for self-preservation. It's what is the base root of our genes, is to preserve life and be able to hit a point where you can procreate. That's the only reason why we exist. And we exist, and we will get past, or we will abuse anything that's going to come between us existing, procreating, and dying. That's what we're going to do. That's what human beings are. And so anything that threatens our little, 1 inch of space on this planet, we are going to take up arms against.
Yeah.
And, I don't know, I honestly thought man had evolved over the course of the last millennia, but clearly we haven't. We're the same human beings that we were 2,000 years ago. 4,000 years ago, we were hunters and gatherers, trying to take control of that 1 inch of space under our feet. And anybody who comes in the way, we're going to challenge.
Yeah, so true. And you narrated a film for Chosen, and this was back in 2008. Sure. Yes. And did this whole thing just bring you back? Were you like, what the hell? I mean, why? Or is it just like, you know what? This is so sad. This is just happening every day, all the time. But
I'm so sorry. And, a lot of people don't like to hear it, but my skin is black. My skin is brown. And this has been my life, not just one incident to my life. This has been my life since childhood. I mean, I've had to grow up in a place where I felt as if the majority at the time didn't want me to be a participant. I ask the question all the time, and I ask the question now, and I think it's one you could ask as you start, interviewing people and you're talking and interacting. But what is it that the other side wants? What is it that those people who hate want? Do they want entire races of people to disappear off the planet? Do they think that this planet was put here so there could be only one race of people? And if that's what they thought, what are you going to do when you end up with one race of people? Then you're going to hate the shorter version of that race of people. And then once you get rid of all the short ones, you're going to hate the ones that are within 1 inch off of what you are. I mean, is that what we are? We are just a species that wants to hate and can't understand that there's value in preserving the species if we work together.
Of course. And that's something that I think I'm trying to teach my kids as well. And I spoke to my friend who I mentioned started the Buy Black 30 challenge. And we had this conversation about, as parents, if you asked me 2 months ago, I would have told you that I thought the right thing to do for my kids was say, don't see color. You shouldn't see color. Everybody is the same, blah, blah, blah. We all thought that was the right thing to do until my friend was like, you know what? If you do that, you're teaching her not to appreciate other cultures and other people and that we're all the same and we're not all the same. And that doesn't have to be bad. It's just, it's so, it's so eye-opening, I guess. Like for me.
Well, I guess the truth is that we all share 99.9% of the same gene. All of us, no matter what color we are, no matter what race you are, no matter where you are on the planet, when you look at the chromosomal genetic code, human beings all share 99.9% of the exact same gene. So really, in some ways, your friend was right when you say color really isn't important. When we think of culture is important. That's the differences between the genetic code in human beings, and that culture is there based on your geographical location on the planet. I mean, if you're from the Mediterranean, you lived a life that was more centered around, water and making sure that you gravitated to the water that was available to you. If you live a life on a land mass that's not filled with a lot of water, you were more gravitating to farming and things of that nature. So, when you look at the way you dress based on, if you were closer to the equator, you dressed in colors and cloth that covered your skin to keep you from dying from, sun poisoning. If you live further north and away from the equator, you dress warmly so that you didn't die from the elements. Yeah. So, I mean, culture is the thing. And culture is the thing that really is what should bind us because of our interest in other things, but it's what separates us and is going to continue to separate us until we stop and pay attention and hit this on the head and figure out that it took all of us to get here and it's going to take all of us to get any further.
Yeah. And you make a lot of good points. And I don't know when it's going to get through to some people, but
it may start to get through when we finally admit that there's aliens or that there, some alien spacecraft. I mean, recently when you see that the military and the government has released film and video showing unidentified objects that we clearly can't explain.
I love that stuff. I love that so much. I'm such a nerd for that.
Well, that may be the only thing. That may be the only thing that unites man when man has something collectively to hate.
Well, It's so bad, but it's also so true. But you are a military man. You were in the Navy and the Marine Corps, and then you made this transition to legendary television host. So just moving over to a brighter topic of you,
Sure.
how did you make that transition?
It was crazy, crazy time, and that the timing had a lot more to do with it than I think anything else. But this was back in the, late '80s. I had started a program where I was speaking around the country to kids about what was then negative youth trends, and was featured on a lot of television programs across the country, a lot of television specials across the country, and I had a couple of people who saw that. I mean, I did a couple of programs that won the Best of Gannett Award for the year. This is 1989, 1990. So people who saw that, I was involved in a big national campaign around the first motion picture Glory, where I worked to help get that movie distributed in every school across the country as part of the national school curriculum.
Wow.
And I did a leader intro to that for the company that was producing it at the time, or distributing it at the time, which was Pepsi. And that ended up on the desk of the person who actually produced the movie. And he looked at it and said, "Hey, pal, what are you doing on my movie?" And his name was Freddie Fields. And I'll never forget, I went to see Freddie Fields on the day before Christmas Eve, 1990. And by, January 12th, I was in contract negotiations for my own national television show.
Oh my gosh, did you have to pinch yourself? Like, that's so
I
incredible. I mean, were you like,
Yeah,
what? This is amazing. Like, that's
that
incredible.
was crazy.
Yeah.
It was crazy, but at the same time, I had paid some dues. I had already won a local Emmy as a talk show host for a show that I had done out of Denver, Colorado, called The Fourth R Kids Rap About Racism, and I did that in 1989, and so I had already had a taste of television, and then this validated that maybe I didn't know what I was doing, and so I went ahead and transitioned out of the military, and bingo bang, I flew to LA and did my first practice show. I think it was May 8th. And went on the air on May 11th.
I just got like full body chills just because I love that. I love that. It's for people like me, it's our dream here. So the chills are amazing. And what were you thinking your first show? Were you like, did you like crap your pants? Like, what happened? Excuse my language.
It was insane, because I literally did a show in a makeshift studio, and we thought I shot 3 practice shows. And then one of those 3 practice shows ended up being the first show that aired. And that was supposed to be thrown in a can. So I really wasn't even ready. And when I started on television, I didn't even recognize that the little light on the top of the camera was called a tally light. That's the one that's on and shooting you. So it took me a long time to transition from, active duty military to talk show host. But it was a fun transition, and it worked.
That's so incredible. I do. I love that. And like I said, you deserve it. You did. You paid your dues, and you're a legend. But I also wanted to tell you just randomly, I love your military makeover show, just because people that don't know that, that show changes the homes and the lives of veterans, which to me is such an important cause. And just super random, but you were in Lincolnton, North Carolina. My mom is from there, and we literally went there every summer. I showed my mom your Instagram. I was like, oh my gosh, look. And she was like, I kind of feel bad. He's there. There's nothing to do there.
Well, the town showed up. Lincolnton showed up. And that's the thing that's so really good about this show, is that, we employ, or we utilize the services of volunteers from the community. And most of these communities, especially small towns like that, everybody shows up. I think we probably had 50 to 60 volunteers a day that were helping us do this makeover. What you don't know is that because the show airs every Friday morning on Lifetime, 8:30, it airs in 5 to 6 episodes for each makeover. But those makeovers are done in 10 days. And so we need the community to show up and to be there and to help us. And, not only do they show up to do that work at swinging the hammers and painting, but they also volunteer. They also donate a lot of the things, a lot of the services that we have, from flooring to roofing to electronics, all are donated by local vendors.
That's incredible. It's a small town, and they have really good barbecue, but I'm thinking you might have needed a translator. Those accents are thick. Those are some heavy accents.
It was a wild experience.
Yeah, right. So just again, on a lighter note, what are you watching on TV right now that you find interesting that you would recommend to people?
I and my wife are Netflix junkies, so we kind of like just, find a show, and in 3 or 4 days we binge watch until it's all gone. If there's two
Yep.
seasons worth. We just finished one. We just finished the show Dead to Me.
Oh, love that show. So good.
I would say when we're actually watching right now, Queen of the South.
Oh yeah, I started that. I haven't finished it, but yeah.
I kind of like that one. That's one of those narco kind of shows, and we've done a few of those in a row.
Yeah.
We watched one that was called 000, which was really good. Only a 1-season episode.
What is that? That's Netflix?
No, that one I think might have been Prime.
Okay. Wait, do you love Dead to Me?
I love Dead to Me until the last 5 minutes. I mean, and that's how I'm starting to feel about a lot of these series that they're great until it's almost like somebody says, we're done. We're not getting the next season. Close it.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I know. And that's so funny because season 1 of Dead to Me, I felt was super strong. I like season 2, but not as much as season 1, right?
I like season 2. I even like season 2 through till the last 3 episodes kind of.
Yeah. That's so funny. We're totally aligned.
Yeah, clearly somebody told them that they weren't getting picked up for another season, so let's end this thing. That's like all of them now. Every one of them is the same way. You watch them, and then they're so good, and then boom, they're gone.
Did you watch Ozark? Or
of course, Ozark.
Yeah, okay.
That was
so good.
That was over the top.
Yeah. Oh, but good.
Really good.
Yeah.
Really good. And I'm hoping that they come back with another one. I love Yellowstone, and I know Yellowstone is coming back.
Oh my gosh. That's so funny. I just started that because my parents and my sister are like, that's the best show on TV. You need to watch it. So I just started that.
But again, see, they ticked me off a little bit with that one too. I'm not trying to be giving you a theme killer, but they could have transitioned better between last season and the new season.
How many seasons are there? There's like 3.
Well, there's 3, but there's a new one coming out, I think, at the end of this month.
Oh yeah, I need to get on that. All right, I've got a lot of catching up to do. So this is also very random, but I just want to know, who has been your favorite person that you've ever interviewed, or one of them?
Well, it's really funny. A lot of people, my show ran for 17 years. I did over 3,000 shows. And back when I was doing my show, I was one of those people that averaged 8 guests per show. So if you think about that, I had 25,000 people seated on the stage right next to me.
Yeah. So you never slept, basically, is what you're saying.
Not only did I never sleep, but, it's hard to pick the one person out of 26,000 people. But I remember having done a show. And I'm sorry, right now I don't know why the young man's name is slipped my memory. Mm-hmm. I did a show about a young man. He was 8 years old, little boy who had a single mother. Mother was a military veteran who found out that she was dying of a brain tumor, and for an entire last year of her life, she became very paranoid. That was part of one of the symptoms from the brain tumor, but she didn't want her son to fall into foster care. So she started teaching this little 7-year-old boy how to take care of himself. And I think he was 8 when she passed away, but she taught him everything about how to cook. She put money aside over the course of the last year in envelopes for all of the bills for her house, and showed him where it was in the closet.
He's 7? Oh my God.
He's 8 years old. So the mother passes away and dies on the kitchen floor.
Oh God. Okay.
This little boy covered his mother's face with a towel and poured bleach over her so he didn't smell the decomposition.
Oh my gosh. Oh my God.
Then he went ahead and lived his life for the next 6 weeks in that home alone.
Hold on. Are you kidding?
Nope. It was one of the most amazing interviews that I've ever done, because I remember talking to him, and it was just almost too. Oh. He was so grown. He literally would go to the closet, grab out the electric bill, go down to the electric company, hand over an envelope with money in it to pay the bill.
Oh my gosh! Wait, I'm gonna cry.
My mother sent me to pay this. And he did that, and he was only caught when a former friend of his mother's had not heard from her. So she drove about 5 states to come and see if she was home. But at the same time, he had told another little boy in his class that his mother had died. He was cutting his own hair.
Oh my God.
He was taking care of himself. And he brought this little boy over to the house to show him that the fact that his mother died. And at the same time he did that, this friend shows up and they find out that he was literally there. And it was amazing because I ended up doing a second show because some people volunteered to adopt him in.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, amazing show.
That is so amazing. And that is like, you just sit there and you're like, this is why I do this. So I can, so you can create joy and create change and create happiness.
Yeah, but I got to tell you though, when we look back, I look back at those, 3,300 plus shows, 3,200 plus shows. Talk at its time and during that time was a game changer in America. There were so many things that really were created out of talk. Some of them you might think are negative, but the entire idea of reality TV was born out of talk.
Right.
And the fact that, things like, latches and trunks of cars to open from the inside came from talk, because there were so many people being kidnapped at the time. We would never have had discussions about AIDS or HIV had we not had talk TV. We would have never had discussions about LGBT if we not had talk TV. I remember I interviewed some of the survivors of some of the earliest, mass shootings in America. We would not have had the discussions that we had. We would not have had the interview style that we had today if it was not for talk then. We might not even have the president that we have today if it wasn't for talk.
Oh God, you're right. You're right. Oh no. Yep.
Reality TV. I got to take good with the bad.